incidents at Tirupati temple several months apart. Nothing in common except for the unfortunate pattern of events that characterized both. Violent scenes with people fighting with the Tirupati temple staff, devotees getting injured, chaos right outside the main temple entrance, and most importantly, the main doors of the temple being shut with darshan coming to a halt. Unprecedented events during the tenure of Sri Prasad, who, as Executive Officer of Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam or the TTD, otherwise had a remarkable tenure between 1978 to 82. In fact, devotees even today enjoy the fruits of his reforms. Here is the first incident that took place in October 1981. The most important festival at Tirupati, the Brahmotsavam, had just concluded. A security officer on duty for the festival had brought his family to have Balaji's darshan. But as he did not carry proper admit pass, the TTD staff stopped them. The officer tried to muscle his way in using force but was sent back by the staff. Infuriated, he backed off only to return with some of his cop friends to avenge the perceived insult. The cops barged into the temple with their shoes on and went on a rampage, and even entered into a fist fight with the TTD staff. All this right next to the devotees queuing up to enter the temple. The TTD staff fought back and with their sheer numbers managed to push back the violent cops before they caused too much damage. The staff then closed the main doors of the temple to prevent the cops from re-entering, and then went on a flash strike inside to protest against the incident. Top officers had to rush there to pacify them and promise an enquiry into the incident. The staff finally relented, and the doors of the temple were again opened for devotees to enter after about 15 to 20 minutes. The first time in Tirumala history that its doors were shut due to violence. The second incident happened a few months later. The shops outside the temple, which we now see some distance away, used to be right outside the main entrance. The narrow gap between the temple and the shops hindered free movement of devotees. Prasad decided to demolish the shops and build a new line of shops of the same size around 100 meters away. Almost all shopkeepers accepted the proposal, but the few unhappy ones went to court for a stay order against the demolition. The TTD defended its proposal in the court and got the case dismissed, and a relieved Prasad ordered for the demolition immediately. Work was progressing outside the main temple door under Prasad's supervision. Suddenly, a group of people came and threw stones at Prasad, shouting slogans against him. Apparently, they were the angry shopkeepers resenting the demolition, joined by a few sympathetic locals. The TTD security team rushed to shield Prasad and started pushing back the protesters. Violence erupted and a few devotees standing in the queue nearby were injured by the stray stones. The cops fired a few shots in the air to disperse the crowd and bring back normalcy. As everything was happening right outside the main entrance, the TTD team also shut the main doors to ensure the devotees inside didn't get caught in the violence and nothing untoward happened, and also pushed back the queue standing outside to safer quarters. Soon calm prevailed, after which the doors reopened and darshan resumed. A shattered Prasad wondered what was the reason for such violence to erupt. Right outside the temple entrance too. Two extreme incidents a few months apart resulting in shutting down of the temple doors. Never before in the history of the Tirumala temple, and both during his tenure. Was there something he did that was wrong? Were some things done improperly? Such questions cropped up immediately in his mind. To seek answers and also to calm himself, An agitated Prasad went into the temple for a darshan of Balaji. As he gazed at the deity, he suddenly noticed that the Namam or the Vaishnavite symbol on Balaji's forehead, the white mark, appeared much smaller than normal. He could in fact see the deity's eyes, which wasn't the case until then. A bit bemused, he looked at the Namam again and then remembered that he had requested the priests that morning to reduce the Namam size so as to allow the eyes to be visible. The sight, however, did not give him the anticipated happiness as he had put in a lot of effort for it to happen. To explain, ever since Prasad joined the TTD, he received multiple requests from the public to reduce the size of the Namam. Apparently, images from the past showed Balaji with a smaller Namam, which had somehow enlarged over the years to almost hide the deity's eyes. Only on Thursdays, after a special flower alankara, the Namam gets reduced and stays that way until Friday early morning when the weekly Abhisheka is conducted, after which the big-sized Namam, which is made of white camphor, is applied. The public's requests demanded that why only devotees who come for darshan on specific times on Thursdays and Fridays got to see his eyes. Shouldn't all devotees get the same opportunity? And being a fair man, Prasad accepted the validity of the requests. But he wanted to ensure that reducing the size did not go against the Shastras. However, the past records of the temple did not have any answers, nor did enquiries with the temple's Vedic scholars give him clarity. Finally, he took his own decision and asked the priests to reduce the size of the Namam from the following Friday after the Abhisheka. And content with his decision, he got immersed in other tasks. But a few months later, he noticed that the Namam had reverted to the original large size. He again requested the priests to reduce the size after the weekly Abhisheka on the coming Friday, which happened to be that very day when the demolition had triggered the violence and temple was shut down. As Prasad stood contemplating and gazing at the deity as if to get answers, he was mesmerized by Balaji's eyes, as if they were communicating a message to him. Just then, the priest there came up to him. "Sir, we reduced the Namam size some months ago as asked by you. But within a few hours, there was a clash between the temple staff and the cops. The staff had to shut the main doors and halt darshan. So we went back to the old size of the Namam immediately, thinking that triggered it. Today, we again reduced the size of the Namam in the morning, and immediately this violence happened during the demolition, forcing to again shut down the temple. Maybe there is a connection between the two extreme incidents and the Namam. Why don't you think about it?" As Prasad heard the priest talk, realization set in and the tension started leaving his body. The next day, the priests went back to decorating Balaji's forehead with the original big-sized Namam as it appears today. Prasad didn't take up this subject ever again, for he was sure there was a divine connection between the Namam and the two violent incidents. Don't you think so too?